All right, you guys. Hi there. Um, Today I'm actually on my way to go to work, and you like going to work? She look kind of ragged, but that's okay. I do a lot of street ministry, so I'm in the process of doing that in about 40 minutes. So I got a little bit of time to spare. Um, Basically, I just want to tell y'all about this dream that I had. It was a little not weird, but it was crazy how I understood it. And God had me to look. Um I was looking, what was I looking? Oh my goodness. Okay, the first dream was like no, God brought it to my remembrance that I was in this dream before I got here. This was like years ago. I was in this dream, and it was this woman trying to make me bow in front of this table. It had candles, it had a book, and it was really dark. The floor, everything was dark, but I remember the floor being like this checkered, like black and white checkered. And my aunt in our house, in our family house before it burned down, had these checkers. So that's what I can remember those parts in a dream. But the woman was telling me to bow, the guy was telling me to bow, and I was screaming, no, 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 no. And they were like, the guy was like, well, let her up. She's not gonna go. And I remember at the end of the dream, I said, I made it. Thank God I made it. Thank God I made it. And when I got up, all I can remember is that in my spirit, in my heart, it was like, I didn't bow. Didn't understand what that was. And then after that, during that time, I was going through a lot of prayer and fasting and a lot of things. Yeah, I was going through a lot of, what is this? Don't know, something's on my hand. It's kind of weird. So I was going through a lot of things during that time, a lot of battles, a lot of spiritual battles. That's kind of weird. Don't know what I touched. I'm not walking my dog too, so maybe. Um, huh. Yeah, so anyhow, as I'm having this experience, um, God brought it to my remembrance recently. And this, like I said, I had this happen to me over 5 years ago. And I was like, what does that mean, God? So I fell asleep and I was watching YouTube. And when I woke up, I got this. It was so strange because it had these things on there. It was like 3 videos back to back. And it was talking about this girl. This girl, she was talking about, what was the one? One was talking about um, denouncing AKA by Omad Mustafa, and then that's Olamide Mustafa, Mustapha, and then the next one was denouncing AKA Faith in Action, and then it said corporate culture. So yeah, and then the other one I forgot, but the first one wasn't that. The first one was another girl, and she was talking about how she denounced Delta. And what she said on there kind of made sense, but it didn't make sense. And I was like, God, why am I seeing this? Because I remember when I was in college, when I was an undergrad, I went and I was about to pledge. Now, I was about to pledge one of those sororities. I won't tell you which one. But I was cool. The crazy part about it, it was like I was cool with all of the sororities there. I was kind of popular. And actually, I had an invitation there to go to all 3 of them, but I knew already when I was younger the one that I wanted to go with, because for one, they had my favorite colors, and for 2, I saw them do more in the community. So I wanted to, that's what I'm all about, community. I've always been that since I was younger. So, what is that? Huh. That's really weird. Telling y'all my hand is white. I don't know where it came from. It's weird. So yeah, anyhow. So as I'm going through there and I'm listening, they all three of them talk about how they bowed at this altar, and it was like a table, and it had the different emblems and the different things that had different meanings on there, and it reminded me of that dream, and I'm like, God, but I did not. In that dream, I didn't bow to the altar. Um, I didn't do any of that. I did not bow. I did not bow. And I didn't join any of the sororities because what happened was it was so crazy how I was like, I asked God, like, if it's in your will, then let me, be in the sorority. I really like the sorority, blah, blah, blah. And I had everything lined up. When I say everything lined up, every single thing lined up. I had my recommendations from two of the people that were already in the sorority. When the other people found out that I didn't join their sorority, it was kind of like a sabotage. They were trying to go against each other and do crazy stuff. So I knew that, a lot of people were already warning me that, they're gonna make it kind of tough for me now. It's a lot of heat because, they're trying to see what I'm about, what I'm doing, and I've already had popularity, and I have a lot of influence, so they're really looking out for me. So I'm like, okay, they're gonna come for me, all right. So when this all happened, I'm telling you, um, my recommendations got lost. I could not understand. I was like, did somebody take my recommendations? But I knew no one took the recommendations because I locked them. I locked them in a lock safe just because of that, because everything was going so crazy. Not only that, so I had backups, and I was like, just in case this happens and I can't find this, can you hurry up and do this? And the people who said yes, I couldn't, nowhere to be found. I mean, I couldn't go to the rest of the pledge week. I couldn't go to, well, I went to pledge week, but I couldn't go any further. It was just weird. So as a result, they thought that I just dissed them and it was just all that, but it wasn't really on my fault. It just happened to be that way. Um, so yeah, I don't know what is on my hand. It is really, really burning. It's really, really weird. But I'm gonna finish this anyway. I'm gonna finish it, and then I'm gonna find out where this stuff is coming from, because that's a little weird. So anyhow, I was like, okay, well, maybe it's not meant to be. But when I saw this and I saw what they were talking about, I remember the dream. God brought it to my remembrance, the dream that I had, and that was over, was that 2005? So that was over 10 years ago when I was in college. So, and he brought it to my remembrance about these dreams that I was having. When I started associating myself with these group members, something happened to where, well, let me say this. I did have a friend that crossed over like two semesters before I was deciding to go and pledge. From the time she started to the time she crossed over, something changed about her. And there was one of the ladies, if I can remember her name. Oh my goodness, she was the first one, and she was talking about how she left Delta, but she was talking about how she became so depressed. And this is how my friend was. She was so down. She was just like weird. And I was like, what the heck is going on? That was the first, and she was telling me how she was having these nightmares and how these things were attacking her and things like that. And I was like, let's pray. So after I told her that, I want to say the second time I told her that, and she was like, it worked the first time and the second time. And she ended up telling some people, and it was like, yeah, but afterwards I noticed that she had to separate herself. Well, she separated herself from me. Like, I mean, when I say separated, I mean, she literally just stopped answering my calls, and it was a whole difference. I was like, okay, let it be what it was. But then when I said I was going to go to that one, then all of a sudden it came back. But I remember her being very, very sad, very, very depressed. And I remember that she was telling me some things that she didn't like that she had to do that she did. So fast forward, anywho, that's what brought to my remembrance. And I was like, okay, God, so what are you saying that I bow down to? Because I know it wasn't that, and God was showing me like how I was bowing down to society's thoughts and thought patterns of me instead of what he has called me to be. And I was like, okay. And then I couldn't even deny it. See, when God talks to you, you know it's the truth. It's you can't even deny it. But anyhow, so I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, that's true. Like, what do I have to do? Like, and how to go about it. And I was telling God, like, I know that I'm not supposed to walk in fear, but I do have that spirit lingering around me, and I cast it out and help my unbelief, because he has been showing me. This was all God. Everything that's around me was God. Like, I can't take no glory, no credit for any of this. When I say it was God that supplied everything. It was God that supplied everything. But he brought me back to the same individual, the young girl. Her name was it was Corporate and Cultured. That's her channel. And she was talking about, she brought it fast forward in January, and she started talking about how God really blessed her for following him. And when I was looking at it, it was like clink, and it was almost like God was telling me, like, okay, I'm reminding you, I'm not gonna let you go in vain. You've done all this. Don't turn back. Don't turn back. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And then, oh yeah, before this, I God had me to write a grant, and I wrote a grant that is has been approved, that helps people if they want to get their real estate license. And even though I don't have any background in real estate or anything like that, my family used to flip houses, things like that, buy houses and sell them like that. But I don't have any certification saying that I'm a real estate agent of any sorts. But I knew how to write grants, and God gave me that thing to, do. So I got that, and I talked to this one lady who I understand is not really for me. I'm thinking it's a Elijah and Elijah situation, when it really is a David and Saul situation. And so I call her because I know that she's certified in this field. And I'm like, asking her, like, does she know anyone that can come? Because we're in different areas. So I'm like, do you know anyone in this area that's into real estate? Because you network, you have to go to these different seminars, and you exchange contacts and everything. And she's very good at exchanging and talking to people and all that good stuff. So she tells me no. And I was like, she's like, she doesn't do a workshop, but she's on her way to teach the class. So I was like, okay, well, I was just looking for someone to teach the class, but you said that you didn't know anyone, you didn't have any interest, and she said she didn't have any interest in doing it. So as I'm telling her, she's like, well, what are you into now? And I'm telling her, this is the process, this is the thing that I'm looking for. And instead of her saying, okay, congratulations, or I can do this, she turns around and says that, which I know she could. And if she would have said that she could, I would definitely would have made some way to make it happen, because I understand that some people's spiritual gifts, they are in tune with themselves. She's very good at what she does. She's good financially. She's good when it comes to business ethics and things like that. That is her God-given gift. Hands down. Now that is not, I might be frugal and I know how to balance certain things, but that is not my gift. That is not my calling. And I try to tread on and stay on my lane and let other people be used by God in the range and the vicinity that they need to be used at. I want to know, what the heck is this? Did I just get burned? Because I know I didn't paint. So as I'm explaining, I tell her that, like I said, she was just like, you're a mess. You're all over the place. You're a mess. You're this, you're that. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, why do you say that? And she's like, well, is that what you're supposed to be doing? Is that anything that taps into your audience? And I'm sitting here and I'm like, so how do you know what my audience is? I know it's dealing, I deal with the homeless population. However, a lot of those people in those populations, that's the same way that I met you. And those people in those populations, some of them want to go into real estate. Some of them want to have trades. That's why I have the grant, so they can become productive citizens and able to support themselves in the world that they live in. But instead, she was just constantly just attacking me. So I was just like, okay. And then I just literally got enough courage, because I've seen this happen over and over with her. I got enough courage to say, okay, let me call you back, which somebody else was on the other line. They really was. But I was really grateful that I had to take this call. And when I hung up, I was like, God, what just happened? You know, I was trying to bless her every time. And I mean, every single time when I try to throw things in her lap or do something to give back, because she always says that I don't. When I do, it's almost like a slap in the face. It's like, it's never good enough. So I was like, God, what just happened? And God was just letting me know, like, close that door. I closed that door, and he was showing me like, what this lady said about, what was it? It was corporate culture. And it was talking about how she got blessed after she let go of some things. And it was talking about how God was, separating people, separating his children from Egypt, back in the day, and how they had to leave things, and the people who were unbelieving, they stuck in that still carnal mind and that unbelief, and they weren't able to inherit what was theirs. But the people who were able to let go, which were the generation after, the generation that were in the wilderness, that started in the wilderness, was able to inherit what was originally for the people who were led out. And that's because of their unbelief, because of the younger's belief and the older generation's unbelief. And so, and mind you, we are generations apart. It's almost like a mother and daughter generation. It really is a generational gap that way. And so God was just showing me that don't do it. And sometimes you really are casting your pearls among swine, and swine doesn't mean that it's got to be, filthy, uneducated people or something like that. It doesn't mean that. It just means someone that doesn't believe in what God has for you. And it's a reason and a purpose. Everybody's not there for the long haul. That gave me the aha moment. Sometimes you want to bless people who bless you when you weren't, all they were supposed to do is bless you and leave that, and they really wasn't intending to bless you. That was another thing I found out with a couple of individuals. They weren't really trying to bless me. It was just what they did evil, and what they did conniving turned out to be good, because it says it in his word, and I just kept going forward, and I kept following God. So you can't be wrong when you follow God and you do what he tells you to do, and you follow his word. His word is, he put his word above his name. So when you follow him and you trust, and when you really trust and you really believe him, you'll put his word, you'll do it no matter what. During this time, was I afraid? I'm not gonna lie. Some of this stuff scared the doo-doo out of me. When I say the doo-doo, ba-doo-doo, okay? That's what I need people to understand, because people always tell you all about the blessings. Just like that lady that said in corporate culture, she's only like 23. Amazing, phenomenal woman. I can tell you that. But people always want to tell you the blessings, and they always talk about physical blessings. But when I say I was blessed all around, I was blessed all around. I got everything that I need and almost everything that I want. And not only that, I got a peace. When you have peace, God gives you that peace that passes all understanding. People was thinking that I was looking, because of what I was going through, that I should have been horrible and I should have been feeling horrid. But guess what? Because I had God, and because I stayed with him and I stayed in his word and I did what he wanted me to do, guess what? I had so much peace. When I got hit by that car, and I'm telling y'all, if y'all haven't seen that, look at my videos and you'll see when I got hit by that car and I had 5 linear fractures. They were telling me that I was not going to be able to walk, let alone drive a car and run and do all this stuff that I was doing. And you know what? I had to say, because I knew what God had for me and I knew what he had designed for me. And I don't give a care what the enemy does. He can jump right here. And I might be afraid, but I would tell him, devil, you are a lie, because what God has for me is for me. Is for me. And nobody can take that away from me. And God won't even take what he has for you. The only way I don't get it is if I reject it. If I reject it because God gave us free will. And I ain't rejecting nothing. I'm not rejecting nothing. I'm walking into my promise. So, and I think you should do that too. This is not just for me. I'm sharing my testimony. I'm sharing my life. I'm pouring out my things. I don't get paid here. You don't see anything monetized or anything like that. I'm I'm just following God's orders and to speak the truth, because there are people out here who are stuck and they're saying what's gonna happen, because people are gonna look at you like you're crazy. I'm gonna tell you this: people looked at me like I was crazy. They thought, some of these people thought I was mentally retarded. When I say mentally retarded, mentally retarded. But guess what? I kept going. I kept following God. I kept serving Him. I kept doing what I needed to do. And through those people who, had that narrow mindset of me, and those people who believed that, it was a door open. It was a door open, because other than that, they would have tried to attack me. Think about David when he went into that foreign land, and they heard about how David had slain all these people, and they were so afraid, and they, so afraid of him, and all he was looking for was peace. So he acted like a crazy man, that's almost, I'm telling you, testimony. That's gonna be a whole nother thing. But I got this 2X shirt on. I'm like a Humpty Dumpty, but it's so cool. So yeah, don't worry about it. You have to let go and let God. The people that are supposed to receive you, baby, they will receive you. They will receive you because they'll have the heart and the mindset of God. They'll have the heart and the mindset of God. See, what I had to learn is that the people who was looking like God, I had to stop looking through the physical thing of what people look like just because their actions look like this, and to listen to God, so He can give me His heart, so I can hear the heart of others, to hear the heart. And then, because God doesn't judge us just by how we look at what we do or our acts. It's none of our acts. I don't give a care how good we act or how many things we give to people. It's all about the heart. It's all about the heart, the motives. Satan gives great gifts that looks like great gifts, but it gives you a great gift that looked really good, but you got a hell of a price to pay. You got a hell of a price to pay in the end, or not even the end. In a short while. Some people don't even wait to the end. They don't even get a chance to the end. So it's good to see that and to understand that God never lies. Like He never lies. When I say He never lies, He never lies. And when you stick with God, you're gonna get persecuted. Just understand that. But it's all for God's glory. That's if you get persecuted. That was my thing. People, you acting like you holy in and out. You blah blah this. No, I want to make it in. I know I want to make it in, and I want to do what I'm designed to do because He created me. So I don't feel complete until I find out what it is. And I'm not going to feel complete and whole until I do it. And He, He lives within me. Like that's the only way. That's the only way. Like, so, what I'm trying to say, well, what I have said, don't worry about them. Don't worry about those people that leave. They weren't meant to stay. They were only there for a little bit. And some of y'all know that's one thing that I had to get. Some of these people that were in my life didn't even need to be there in the first place. God told me no, like a big no. And because I wanted, to feel that comfort, and it looked familiar, because that's a familiar spirit that's operating out of it. It's a familiar setting, your familiar face, and or a familiar attitude and upbringing, that I wanted to keep that near to feel some sort of comfort when it was actually destroying me. Those people didn't even have the mindset of God. And not only that, they didn't like me. Most of them people hated my guts. So you got to rejoice when you're going through this time, rejoice in that persecution, not because of, I'm thinking I'm all that and they hating on me. No, you rejoice because God's word told you that, and he telling you right there, He never lies. He's already proven that over and over and over again, that what He says is true. So all you got to do is follow it, and you'll be victorious. So I'm not going to say nothing else, because the longer you talk, the more you start saying idle words. That's all I wanted to say. Hopefully somebody got it. Hopefully something I said or done will help you on your journey. Please stay tuned to Journey to Jerusalem, and thank you so much.